Ooh. I wonder if I can change my name here.
No, you don't want your name there, Elias. Just
Yeah,
your first name.
no, first name is fine, but it's really my full name there. I'd rather not have that. I wonder if I
It
can
doesn't have,
change it somehow.
I don't see it anywhere.
Oh, it doesn't? It's under my
Huh?
web camera for me. Okay,
Okay, yeah, it doesn't show up here. So if it's on
that's
the
good.
recording, then if I publish it, I'll put a blur over your name.
All right.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question is almost always the same question. How many of my
Mm-hmm.
typing sessions have you seen before?
5 to 7, maybe. Not. I haven't watched like the full videos, maybe, but I have seen a lot of the stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And how long have you known about typology and BTA stuff?
I've been aware of it for a while, but maybe interested in it for I'd say 5 years or so. For a
Okay,
pretty long
so
time.
you've got a fair amount of knowledge about it already.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, are you German?
I'm Finnish. I'm Finnish.
Oh, Finnish. You know, I've been
Yeah.
to Finland before.
You have or no?
I was at the airport,
Ah, where were you going to?
Moscow.
Moscow. Ooh, all right.
Yeah, so I was just in the airport in Finland, but I have technically been to Finland before.
Yes, technically you have. Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell me about the last vacation you went on and give me some details about it?
It's been a long time since I've been to a vacation, but well, to another country. Well, where
Not
was I?
necessarily another country, just out of town where you have to spend the night in a hotel or something.
Well, I'll tell like well, I used to live in a city that was very close to the capital of Finland. Then I visited like almost weekly to my friend's place in Kallio in Helsinki, and just doing what you do, having a good time, relaxing, meeting friends, meeting new people, going out clubbing sometimes, playing video games, that kind of stuff. Having kind of therapeutical conversations with my friend's girlfriend and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Therapeutic for her, you or for who? You or
for
her?
me, beneficial to me. Yeah.
Okay. Is she a good listener or something?
She's a good listener, and she's also like, I guess she knows when to put me down and when to put me up. So
I see. Okay, cool. Now, you sort of described, I guess, a trip you took a couple of times, maybe, or was that just one trip you're referring to?
that was like almost a bi-weekly occurrence, like almost like every other week I was going.
Okay, well, I would like you to try to remember a time when you went out of town that was distinct, a single time, and tell me your favorite moment from that trip.
Okay,
It
I'll
could
tell
be
you.
from recently or a long time ago, either way.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell a story. I went to Glasgow with my then girlfriend. I lived in Glasgow before, so I went to pick up my stuff. My favorite moment must have been the early morning 5 a.m. bus ride to the bus station with my girlfriend, and she was sleeping on my lap, and I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, that is cute. Glasgow, is that in Scotland?
Glasgow, yeah, it's the second biggest city.
Okay. Do you think Scotland's really its own country? Or is it really part of England?
I mean, obviously it's its own country, but it's its own country. Yeah, it is. But I'm willing to switch my position if I hear a good argument good enough.
Okay, well, that's worth noting. All right, so how do you feel about practice? Is there anything that you do that you have to practice periodically, either a sport, a martial art, music, art, something like that?
Well, yeah, I take everything as practice, basically. I want to get better at everything I do.
Mhm.
If you want some like a real life example, I play a lot of video games right now. I try to get better at those. Also, for my school or university, also trying to get better. Oh, yeah.
What are you studying?
It's something related to computer science.
Okay. And what kind of video games do you like better? Resource distribution, first-person shooter, or something else?
MOBA games, so strategy games that have also technical skills. But strategy is, I think, my something that I can really bring value to my team with. So shot calling, making the decisions, what to play on the sort of macro level. Also, I'm pretty good with my fingers also, so I can play on the micro level. So
See, that's where I suffer. I'm terrible with my fingers. Might be a generational thing. I could never play a game
it
on
is.
a phone, that's for sure. But even when
Yeah.
I had a PlayStation 3 and I'd play Madden, I was good at play calling, but my stick skills were terrible.
You have to be very young to get the get the wiring for it, I guess. You have to
Yeah, I
be
guess
very young
so.
to start. Yeah.
hmm You know, my daughter, she's so fast with her
Right.
thumbs typing on her phone. I
Right.
can't, I have to use my fingers. I can't
Right.
use my thumb.
It's embarrassing, right?
Okay, cool. So, when you're done with university, you're done with your computerish degree, do you have a clear idea of what you want to do then, or are you gonna figure it out then?
Um, I have some ideas what I want to do, but it's not like mapped out perfectly. No, it's not mapped out
Okay.
perfectly.
Do you have a clear concept of what you don't want to do? Because, like, sometimes you can end up with a degree and go, like, some people with this degree go, dude, yeah, I definitely don't want to be one of those people.
No, I don't have like a that I don't want to do because I think even if I dislike something very much, there's probably a reason for me to dislike it, and probably it's very beneficial to do it then for at least some time to
Okay.
gain those skills. Yeah.
So what then do you think your feelings are more informative to you? When they're informing you what you don't like, or when they're informing you what you do like?
I know what I like. Yeah.
You like big butts. And you cannot lie. Okay, you know what you like. All right. But you don't have a clear vision of what you want to do. Do you know what you want to do as far as like family life? Do you want to get married and have kids, or are you leaving that up in the air?
I mean, I have been sure about things before in the future, but right now, family life also I'm not certain about, because I do know that I want to have like a very close bond with somebody. Right now, I'm enjoying not having that. Well, let's say I have had it recently also, but yeah, I have some
Are
idea
you
what
more of a long-term relationship person or a short-term relationship person?
I wouldn't categorize myself into either one, because there's benefits to both and there's things I like in both. But I'm a more long-term relationship person, because I think it's more developmental for my psyche and personality and everything, and real life things for also. So I think I'm like in my mind I'm more long-term person, but I'm also impulsive. So yeah.
Very true. Okay, can you explain to me your understanding of metacogniting about uh about questions like I just asked you? In other words,
hmm
what's your thought process as you're trying to answer that question? What data are you referencing?
Well, I will get visual images, and then I will consider those. It's a quick flash, but that will give me an impression of something. So that will give me something that my brain at least prioritizes over other memories and so on.
How,
But
how would you categorize relationships? Give me your taxonomy of relationships, or your various abstractions you may have done so far in life about relationships.
well, relationships are vital, as they are instinctual and they're biologically wired to us. You will have to be a very exceptional person if you are not inclined to have relationships with other people. Not a lot of people have antisocial tendencies, but they're not that exceptional. They would be better off having relationships. So I think that's something to strive towards. It does require you to work on yourself to be at least a tolerable person, develop your persona so that other people might have something that you might gain something from you.
Okay, I figured that that's the question I meant to ask, and I forgot to ask a replacement question.
Mhm.
How do you work on yourself? What does that mean?
Well, it depends on, well, there's values that people have, and I strive to fulfill those values.
Are those people who have those values you?
Yeah, most often, yeah. Also, other people. Yeah. I'm not a
But
narcissistic
you want to
person.
make sure you want to make sure you're defensible against other people's critiques, is what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. You obviously. All right, I mean, before I start making obviously statements, let me ask you some more questions.
Yeah.
So, okay, but like, do you actively go around considering what those values that you want to uphold are and how you might take action to uphold them?
Do I do that? Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. So what's an example of a value you want to uphold, or you try to make yourself uphold that maybe if you didn't metacognate and think about it, you wouldn't uphold as well?
Well, what I have done is, well, when I was maybe 10 to 14, I wasn't a very charismatic person. Not many people liked me, so I wanted to develop that side of me. So I went to the fire, and got myself burned and learned my lessons. Did some sales also, sales jobs to learn how to, influence people in a positive manner and so on. That's one thing, for example.
Okay. So when you say you get burned, you mean like people would say something snarky and make you realize you were looking like an ass or something like that? Or do you
For
mean
example, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, I feel like I'm making good progress with you already.
I'm also, but I'm a pretty agreeable person in that sense. So I will agree with some things that I will agree on the moment, but if I process it later, I might disagree. So be wary of that also.
Okay. Well, that's also very instructive the way that you did that. There's only certain types that anti-game, anti-game the typing session. There's only certain types really to do that. Okay. So can you tell me what you think about truth, what it means, how the word's used, how you use it, what role it plays in your own life?
Well, truth requires some things. It requires that there is a paradigm, if you believe in paradigms, whatever. If there's a paradigm that accepts truths, and then something that, well, truth requires a framework, right? That yeah, right. And some people might not have that framework you agree with. They might not have that truth, But
Well, it might be implicit. Yeah.
Yeah, they might not have the metacognition to have the realize. Anyway, yeah, truth requires things. Truth requires things. Yeah, I'd say that.
Okay, that's interesting. And correct. Okay. What about justice?
Justice. I like justice. I have a strong instinct for justice, I guess. Especially if someone is like, I have this image of someone being like ganged up on and physically hit and stuff like this. Then I would like to run there and hit people.
Yeah, I know.
Just to help the person, not the
I also have those kind of fantasies.
Yeah.
I started having violent fantasies against the unjust, I think, in middle school. Sometimes I'd ride home from school on my bicycle and I'd just be imagining the most violent
Right.
direct behavior against these people that I found to be perpetrators of
Right.
injustice.
Right. I do live this. I have lived this also.
Yeah. Cool. So it's funny also the way that you came in to the stream, wanted to be typed right away, and then but this is it's like super indicative. EFFPs, they might come to the stream and want to get typed right away, but they will always try to get it done for free, right? Or
Oh
for
well.
cheap or whatever. You come
Mm.
in, you offer to pay extra to get it done right now. That's
Well, yeah.
very indicative of like, and you say, and you wanted to have it streamed. So right off the bat, I was thinking like, okay, this guy is probably not an introvert.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
You know?
Maybe.
But I mean, it's hard to say because certain
Mm-hmm.
kind of introverts, like INFJs, for example,
Mm-hmm.
they're typically very comfortable with having their typing sessions public. Anyway, this is just correlative stuff in it. Regardless, it's not testing your functions, but it's interesting to know
Mm-hmm.
for me. So I just
Yeah.
said it.
Yes.
Okay, let me continue. I'm going to give you the first part of the story, and I want you to finish the story. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've heard this first part before, then stop me and I'll make up a new first part.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't heard it, I'll use this one I used before.
Can I lie? No, just go. Whatever. No.
A
Okay.
woman walked into a bowling alley with a peacock. Have you heard this one?
No.
Okay. She
A
walks in.
woman
Wait,
will.
that's not the end of the first half of the story. The woman walks into a bowling alley with a peacock on a leash, and she goes up to the counter and she says, "I want to go bowling with my peacock. I'd like to get Rich some bowling shoes for me, bowling shoes for my peacock, and Elaine for the bowling." And the guy says, "I'm sorry, we don't allow peacocks in here." And she says, "This peacock is my service animal, and you're discriminating against me. Let me talk to your manager." Now you finish the story.
Manager comes in. Oh, hey. Don't worry, this guy's first day here. He's never seen a peacock in this bowling alley. So go ahead, bowl with your bowling alley. Are you using the peacock as a ball, or are you using it as a companion? As a companion? Okay.
It's my service animal. It helps prevent me from having anxiety.
I have anxiety too. I understand you. Go ahead and bowl with your peacock. Do you need some extra juice with that?
Well, yeah, I need shoes for the peacock. Do you have peacock shaped shoes?
Yes, we do have. Do you want coconut or orange flavored?
That's very solvency oriented. Okay, fine. Unfortunately, I got myself involved in the story again. Let me ask you another question. How many different ways can you think of to say, I don't think you should buy that hat?
That hat doesn't suit you. The hat is not for you. That is not the best purchase. I don't recommend that. Buy something else. That's. I think that's the
Okay. Sombrero. No.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe true. Good one.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you some TI questions. I think I probably know what type you are, but I'm going to ask you some TI questions. So if all birds tweet and I tweet, am I necessarily a bird?
No.
Okay. If only handicapped people can park in this spot and I'm handicapped, can I necessarily park in that spot?
Necessarily, you can.
Do you say not necessarily or necessarily?
Can you repeat the question? Because I'm pretty sure it's necessarily you can. If it's only handicapped people and he's handicapped, then he can.
No, that's not true though.
What do you mean?
because even though it's only handicapped people and he's handicapped, it's not all handicapped people. It could be, for example, a parking spot specific to blind people.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah.
Fine.
Okay. Now let's try a genealogy question.
I'm bad with this. I'm really bad with because I don't even remember the words. So maybe something else. I'll fail this one. I'll say now.
Okay. Let's try missing generalization. I'll say something. Here's an example of missing generalization problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say something like, "You can't come in here. You're not a poet." The missing generalization is only poets can come in here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So every missing generalization will start with either all, only, or no.
Okay.
All right. She must be good at science. She wears glasses.
Missing information is that smart people wear glasses. Or
That's all people who wear glasses are smart.
okay, yeah. That's the answer format. Okay, I misunderstood you. Okay.
Yeah, okay. We'll do some more. She must be from France. She's wearing couture fashion.
All French people wear couture fashion. Okay.
No, all people who wear couture fashion are French.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
Let's try it
I'm not good at this. Holy moly.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's try one more and then we'll move on. Okay. If bears like Cheese Whiz and I have shoes, then Mary will go to the opera. Either bears like opera or I have shoes, but not both. What can we conclude?
Can you repeat that? Because I thought you said stew. I'm really confused. Can you say again?
Okay,
Sorry.
I might have messed it up a little bit. Let me repeat it.
Okay.
If bears like opera and I have shoes, then X. Either bears like opera or I like shoes, but not both.
Mm-hmm.
What can we conclude?
Well, we can conclude the ending part that you said, but I forget what it is. Something like about opera or no? Going to opera or something. That part would be untrue, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's actually X. It's untrue in this.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, fine, cool. All right. So when you encounter something around your house that's broken, let's say a doorknob, let's say a desk leg has come loose and now your desk is wobbly, something like that. What do you do?
If it's like if I can just take a kind of 5-second look at it and I can tell I can fix it, then I will. If it takes like less than a minute to fix it, I'll fix it. But if it takes any longer, like I'll maybe put a book under the table or something, that kind of stuff.
Okay. What if so basically you probably won't fix it. At what point will you, let's say you have to fix it or decide you must, are you more likely, let's say it's a broken doorknob, are you more likely to attempt to fix it yourself, or are you more likely to ask somebody else to fix it, or are you likely to look up how to fix it on the internet, or what?
I mean, any of those are fine, but probably the first instinct would be to, if there's somebody nearby who I know that can fix it, then I'll entice them to fix it, rather than. But then I would Google if that's not the case. If I figure out that's not the case, then I'll just Google it. I guess that would be very annoying.
Okay. Can you tell me? Can you break down the following task? And the task is going to get a quart of milk, or as you might say, in metric a liter?
Wow, yes, we're right here. Okay, liter of milk, getting liter of milk. First, I have to think what kind of milk, then I will think where the milk is, then I'll put my clothes on, I'll put my shoes on, I'll take the path to that place, I will finish the idea I had, that milk precisely, I know where it is, and I'll get that milk and I'll bring it back.
So how many steps is that, do you think?
7 to 10, 7 to 10, I'd guess.
I counted either 7 or 8, depending on whether you counted one of them as 7 or 8. Okay, well, that's interesting to know there. Huh. You are what I like to call a bit of a conundrum. Okay. So, can you tell me about your understanding of how your own self understanding / development is impacted by either your experience or your intuition, and how that each of those plays a role differently in your self growth as you understand it?
Right. So I feel like my sensory side or reality side, let's say, not physical side, everything that pertains to molecules, and well, you can argue that everything, but whatever. Then I'd say that is the side that I gravitate to develop. I think it's more lacking on the intuitive side and sort of, but I could be totally wrong here. But intuitive side and sort of mental wanderings, whatever we go, however we want to define it in this scenario. I think that is something that I don't consciously try to develop too much. I think it is well and good as it is.
Okay, cool.
Although I do read a lot of philosophy, psychology, and so on, but that's, for pleasure.
How do you feel physically right now?
Feel physically right now. Actually, I'm feeling pretty warm. Now I got a headache when I started thinking about this. Holy moly! But I feel warm in my hoodie, and I like the view behind you. It looks very nice.
Oh, thank you. You feel, I like the way you said, I feel warm in my hoodie. It sounds like something I wanted to sample, or somebody would sample it and put it in a song.
Right.
Anyway, so why don't you take your hood off then? Because you don't want to show your hair, probably.
Yeah, I just took a shower. That's fine.
Okay.
And it is increasing the heat. It is increasing the heat. It's very good.
Did you tell me about how you picked the spot where you're sitting? Did you?
It's the only place where there is light, because there's my room there, and I just moved there a week ago, and there's no light there, and it's dark outside. So I was like, maybe I'll use my phone to put the light there, and I tested it, and it's, this is all good, but my eyes are hurting because the light is blasting at my eyes here. So this is the only place with a light on. So.
Okay, I see. Interesting. Tell me about your relationship with sleep and going to bed.
Well, I equate that with night sleep. Night sleep right now is not the best. I have difficulty falling asleep, but I do enjoy dreams. I do enjoy dreams a lot, and I remember dreams very vividly, and I try to analyze them, and I try to learn from them, and I try to track where I'm at right now in life by following my dreams. It's kind of hippie shit, but
Can you give me an example of a dream you've had and how you've interpreted it?
Sure. Well, okay. There was a dream maybe 2 months ago. I was led to a prison cell by 2 people. There was one other person, but he was in the jail cell, but it was not of importance, that person in that dream. Then I was led out of the jail room. Actually, flowers started to flourish in that jail room, and I walked out. And then there was a person that pulled me with a chain. A chain sort of appeared from their stomach or something and pulled it to them, and then the pool became like a pool sort of came to be where I was, and there was a golden fish, huge golden fish swimming in it, and then I
And
woke myself up. Yeah, and then
what did you interpret
interpretation.
that to mean? Yeah. What did you interpret that to
Yeah,
mean?
I interpret it to mean that I was maybe in a place where I was doing too much or being way too way too sort of extrovert, and then I was taken to the jail cell, which was barren in the beginning, but flowers started to flourish in there, symbolizing my internal state becoming better. And then I was taken out, and I was brought to that pool of life with the golden fish in it.
And did you interpret that to mean you were going to have fish for dinner?
Salmon, precisely, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's those are very NI kind of interpretations of the thing, and very NI kind of archetypes. Well, I wish I dreamt more. Probably, one thing that makes you dream.
You know
less.
what it is? Weed.
What?
It's the weed.
Yeah, exactly. Weed makes you
Mhm.
dream less.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I want to
Because
smoke weed more than I want to dream.
because it brings your unconscious more to your conscious when you're awake. So that's my guess. I'm just guessing here. So it's, well, I don't know, just a guess.
I don't know exactly what it is, but I do know that it's something that after you smoke weed for as long as I have, it doesn't really do much consciously when you're like I don't feel much different. But it still has that dream suppressant effect, regardless.
Well, I'd say you're a very unconscious of your unconscious kind of person. You give that center of energy.
That's possible. That's certainly possible. I mean, I do have a weak relationship with my subjective epistemology functions. So, describe what sadness feels like physically.
It's not easy, but little below the heart. If it's a real sadness from a relationship ending or something, then it's a really piercing pain. But I feel it more in my head, in my mind. But it's a very piercing pain, can be,
Okay. What makes you more angry at yourself when you let yourself get dragged into something you don't want to do, or when you behave awkwardly and embarrass yourself?
Well, I have a really high resistance to self-embarrassment because I think I don't embarrass myself very often. If I do, it's probably on purpose at this point. So, but I don't punish myself for being dragged into things that I'm not prioritizing that much either. But I would say the first one would be worse. I don't feel embarrassment that much right now. I've done my sales jobs. I've embarrassed myself a hell of a lot,
Okay, what about if you accidentally hurt someone's feelings?
I think that's kind of bad. Like if I seriously hurt somebody's feelings, I will feel bad about it. Like yeah, I will really feel bad about it.
Okay. It's interesting.
If they don't deserve it, if they do deserve it, then I'll just, go to the gym or something.
Okay, so what's your analysis interpretation of the last two questions I asked? Namely, it's a little too cold outside. I realized that's why I'm sitting in the garage. It's not that much too cold, so the garage with the door open is fine temperature, but actually outside is a little. It's like 3 degrees too cold or something. Fahrenheit degrees.
Yes.
The last two questions I asked were about if you let yourself get dragged into something, and versus if you accidentally hurt someone's feelings. What do you think I I was grasping at there and asking the questions, and what do you think your answers reveal?
Well, there's many interpretations that I have right now. It could be F for the first and T for the second. It also could be IP, FE inferior for the first. Second could be sort of EJT thing. It's difficult to articulate in the manner that I would want to, but yeah, I have some interpretations, but I don't have the best
Okay,
way
I'll
to
tell you
express it.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
So
sure.
the first question was something I'd never thought to ask before,
Mhm.
but I perceived asking it as an FI question potentially, which was the angle of FI where you're not respecting what you want enough and you're letting yourself get dragged into something. That
Right.
seemed to be an FI question to me.
Mhm.
And then I asked my normal FI question, which
Mhm.
is if you hurt someone else's feelings,
Mhm.
what about that?
Mhm.
And the answers were starkly different. So
Mhm.
what my thoughts about it are is that
Mhm.
the first question is asking about the less conscious part of FI for anybody who's got FI in the backstack, which is what's important to you.
Mhm.
And the second question is asking about the more conscious part of FI, what's important to somebody else, and when you realize you've not respected that adequately.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yes, maybe if you TFI access TEFI will respect the second part more. FIT will respect the first part more, I guess. I would say.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking about that. Okay.
Interesting.
And where did I put my lighter? Hold on a second.
In your left jacket pocket.
Oh, thank you. No, it's in my shirt pocket actually. But it's close enough.
Close enough.
Okay, I almost lost it for a second. Let me just smoke this bomber.
Mhm.
Can you talk to me about your relationship with procrastination?
I think me and procrastination were fine. Um, they allow me to, have a higher level of freedom, but I think procrastination is a little bit mad at me for engaging with them too much. I think they would like a little lower own time and me doing little bit more. But I was just thinking about this today. I do like deadlines a lot because they help me. They give me more internal pressure to get stuff done. But I'm a very active person. I like to be constantly doing something, constantly moving forward in some way. But I want to be the one to decide. So
Right, sure.
yeah.
So, what makes you more mad when somebody tells you what to say, or when somebody tells you like what time to go to bed?
I mean, to me, if someone tells me what to do with my body, I think that's way worse.
Okay.
If someone tell me I'm sorry, I can just say it without meaning it. But I think yeah.
That's excellent. Can you tell me about your media habits? How you consume media?
Mm, um, I think it's you know don't infer too much, but your lowest parts of humanity. Like, I watch a lot of food videos and stuff like this, but also educational stuff. Yeah, but I do consume a lot of YouTube, Netflix, not Netflix at all actually. YouTube. I read a lot on Quora and Reddit. I like English language a lot. I'm not the best at speaking it or anything, but I like
You're
new
pretty
words.
fluent, man. You are pretty damn fluent.
Thanks. Finnish people are pretty good at English.
Really? Well, you know, they have a lot of experience with consonants.
Yes, they do.
That's the thing everybody says. Or is that Iceland? It's both Finland
Iceland,
and Iceland.
both
Both of
have a
them
lot of
have a lot of
consonants.
consonants in the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
It's always
Icelandic words are crazy sometimes. Especially the volcanic words are insane in Iceland.
well, you get a lot of things like G's and J's right next to each other, which you kind of wonder, like, what
Mm.
kind of sound is that?
Yeah, I like words with K's and Y's. I like K words a lot. You know.
It's good to have a preference of for which letter of the alphabet words start with. So I meant to talk about this on the live stream earlier. There's this kernel of corn. Like if I have these bags of sunflower seeds to put out for the birds and shit around here, right? And every single bag of them, it has an occasional kernel of corn in it. And I wonder, how in the world do they get a kernel of corn into every, like one or two accidentally into every bag? 'Cause it's not supposed to have any corn in it, you know?
There's always
What do you
corn.
think? You explain how it is that they get to be a piece or two of corn in every one of these sunflower seed bags. Use your extroverted intuition to explain it to me.
They're processing them in the same facility, and they don't mind it too much because it's for the birds.
They're processing corn and sunflower seeds in the same facility, and
And they don't care. Yeah.
Sometimes just corn just flies over into the sunflower seed part.
Yeah. They don't mind it. They're like, put a couple corns in it. We don't care. It's
Yeah,
for
I
the
don't
birds.
mind. I don't mind
No,
that they do it. I don't feel cheated. Okay. Well, I've got a pretty good idea of what type you are. And I think I'm going to tell you what I think it is now, even though we got about 20 minutes left. And then you can direct the conversation the rest of the time and however you want, okay?
Sure.
You test you more, or you could talk about it. I think you're an INFJ.
Whoa, interesting. Wow.
What do you think you are?
Well, that's the first time I've gotten that. That's really interesting. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I am in the beta quadra. A lot of people type me ISTP. Not too far off from INFJ. Yeah, that's interesting. Can you reason a little bit for me?
Yeah, sure. When I test your NE, it tests backstack. When I test your SI, it tests very unconscious, but better than polar. When I test your TI, it tests something other than 1, 2, or 7. When I test your TE, it well, the thing is, your answer and your ability to keep track of the steps is not exactly consistent with TE polar. But the fact that going to get a liter of milk requires you to go 7 or 8 steps, and that you begin with knowing something, that is textbook TE polar. Okay, it's a phenomenon consistent with a knower to think that you begin setting a task, with knowing something.
Right. I have to know first before acting, for sure.
Well, that may or may not be true, but most other people, I mean, it's true for you, but for most other people, when asked a question like, break down, go to the store to get a liter of milk, and the staff are going to say, get in the car, drive to the store, get the milk, come back home. So your TE is not textbook polar. You didn't ring the gong on TE polar. But
Well,
not
Eric, I have watched the TE questions before, so when I watched it, I imagined how I would answer it, and I didn't want to be the TE person to say, "How do you cut a hair? Take scissors and cut it." I don't want to be that guy. So maybe I cheated a little bit there.
The other thing is, when I said earlier, there's only certain types that counter game the typing session, anti-game it.
Mhm.
Those types, what it really I'm saying is the only type that consistently seems to do that is INFJ. ENTP might do it as well. At
Mhm.
first I thought coming out the gate you were an ENTP.
Mhm.
And then as I tested your NE, I realized no, it's definitely not dominant and it's not front stack, but it's snappy, you know. So fifth slot's consistent.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
kind of the way I like any I don't like respect it the same way as I respect NI, but I imagine I can do some NE, you know. But to me, it feels kind of silly and fun, you know.
sure. Um, First of all, because you're a knower, your relationship with extrovert intuition, when best utilized and best experienced, is
Mm.
one that is of somebody receiving information. You're dismissing information that's derivative, overly familiar to you, not saying anything new,
Mhm.
as not worth your time. That's how an observer uses extroverted
Mhm.
intuition correctly to as a value to validate against the external world. Just like I use introverted intuition as a value to validate the external world. When I'm consuming things, I'm not looking for originality at all because it's like I keep watching the same basic show over and over again. I like to watch isekai animes where you're reborn in
Mhm.
another world with magic
Mhm.
powers. I
Mhm.
watch those shows all the time. I've run out
Mhm.
of all of them. All of
Mhm.
them in existence, I have watched them. And there's shit tons of these things, okay? All of them are any good anyway. The shitty ones I don't want. But what I'm validating there is good NI. I want like pristine examples of this art form done beautifully with perfect universal resonance, etc. I'm validating the external world with NI. And then more importantly, when I'm using it best, I'm saying things, I'm creating things that themselves as artifacts resonate with other people's good NI. In that instance, then that's how my relationship with NI is most sort of helpfully expressed, which is why I live stream all the time and make much shit, you know. But anyway, that's my basic explanation for why you're an INFJ is you're definitely TIFE, not FITE. And you're definitely
Mhm.
NISE, not NESI, even though your SI is better than polar for sure, because you're able to
Mhm.
articulate various details.
Mhm.
Um, it's not up front in any of your answering. I have to drag it out every instance.
Mhm.
It's consistent with INFJ. You're not an ISTP, so your TI is not good enough.
Mhm.
And also your NE is too good. You're not any polar. Any polar you
Mhm.
need a spot. You're definitely not that. So I don't know. You're not your TI is not good enough for ESTP, although that's probably what you have been mistyped as most often.
Yeah, actually, your sort of protege, ex protege, I guess. What was the INTP? Steve, what is INTP's previous
Basic,
name?
basic.
He taught me ENTP actually.
Oh well, yeah, he's wrong on that account. But yeah, you're an INFJ. And the thing
That's
is, I can
cool.
see that regardless of anything else, I just made a better case for why you're the type I say you are than anybody
Mm.
else has made for whatever they said.
I mean, I do like this analysis. What kind of because then you'll be the case that NI is the strongest function, well, at least in the top of the stack. Then, what kind of NI did you see then in the answers I gave you?
Well, the fact that at no point did you ramble on. I caught you doing a parenthetical on one or two occasions
Mm.
early on, which I mistook for conscious NE, because that's
Mm.
another thing that happens in conscious NE. But the thing is, you never forgot the question at any point when you were answering, even when you gave long answers. And your
Mm-hmm.
questions were always your answers were always responsive to the question I actually asked, not to some other question.
Mm.
That's rare, and it's something INFJs do because they actually listen and observe to what is objectively being said or is in front of them, and know what it is according to what it means, and not some other subjective shit getting involved in their epistemology on that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Your answers were concise in that they gave a specific answer and then they stopped. My answers have become more concise over the years as I try to validate myself against external NI, right? But as you can see, they tend to segue into other answers all the time,
Mm-hmm.
which is not something that you do when answering questions. Also, it's like when I ask you all the different ways you can say this thing, instead of it becoming accelerating returns, it's diminishing returns.
Mm-hmm.
Textbook and a strong NE for an NI dog, you know, for an NI user.
Mm-hmm.
Like at a certain point, you go, well, what's the point of this? An NE user would make more increasingly wildly divergent ways of saying the thing
Mm-hmm.
to try to be funny or whatever, or just to be who they are. So if you were like FI over NE, you sit there and try to remember all the ways that other people have said it before. I guess. Yeah. So do you have any questions? Do you want to direct the conversation? We've got about 10 minutes
Well,
left.
I would just respond to that I think for me the reason I answer concisely is because I want to save everyone's time. Also, it's another thing that I'm protecting my thinking in the sense that I don't want to make wildly inaccurate claims. So if I start to theorize too much or go into possibilities, I realize in myself that I start to feel very insecure. So I start. It's just a guess. It's just a guess. It's just speculation. Just an observation. You know. So I don't want to. You know. That's
You
the
want
kind of.
to protect yourself from negation.
Yes. Yes. Because then if someone negates one thing from the thing, it might negate the whole for the people listening. You know.
Wow. That's very FE tool. That's
Mm-hmm.
a very meta level of awareness, right? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
concerned not just with what's being said and the accuracy of it, but the fact that it all be accurate, or else because you're aware of how little wrongness it takes for a person to dismiss the entirety of what you're
Exactly.
saying.
Precisely. Yes.
I've never really experienced such a nice tidy expression of NIFE like that. That's nice.
Thank you. Also, I see my SE inferior a lot because that's the kind of thing that like people like, for example, in conversations in real life where I'm knowledgeable, like you said, like a knowing person, I can be very assertive. Or a thing where we have a direct goal, I can be very assertive and leading us and controlling in order to get there. But if I see like a group of dudes, you know, being loud and that kind of stuff, like I'm like, ooh, no, not for me. I can't, like, what the hell? No. So like, and physical violence, like, it really affects me strongly. Like, for example, the war in Ukraine. Let's not get too political, but the war in Ukraine, like, really shocked me because it's so nearby, and the violence is so ruthless. Like, it really shocked me to the core, for example, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much Cognitive Fantasy you've watched, but that very much upset me too, because many years ago, before, when Luhansk, and that shit happened in Luhansk, I was ranting and raving about how we need to do something about this now. Nobody listened.
Right. Yeah, it's wild. Well, let's not get too dark here. I mean, it's looking up, you know, and so on. But what else? Typology. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a pretty depressing topic. But on the other hand, I have tarot predicted that Ukraine will make the 2026 World Cup.
All right. We'll see how that
So
plays out.
that'll be good for them. Hopefully, bring up their nation's spirits. Do you think Finland is going to make the World Cup in 2026?
In what sport?
Soccer, of course.
No,
Is there?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I used to play soccer, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We're good at hockey. Like let's talk about hockey instead.
Oh, I see. You guys are ice sport people. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. We're
But
we're a soccer country, but ice hockey we're world champions. You know.
I think of Europe as all being about soccer.
I mean, I played soccer for 5 or 6 years, but ice hockey is that's where we shine really.
Did you ever play it?
I played it for leisure, never in a team really.
Is it because you weren't standout good, or because you didn't like sports that much?
I mean, in in some sports, I'm really good at. I learn really quickly, but the thing is, the nerves. Like some people are so confident in the field, like I'm not that confident, and that just destroys me. You know?
Or I guess because you're trying to know first rather than act first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's probably a bit of an inherent disadvantage.
Yeah, but it's a good for a goalkeeper. It's good for a goalkeeper because you can actually observe the game and look at the patterns for a really long time before you have to make a play.
That's a good observation there,
Mhm.
observer. uh, so what do you feel you are an INFJ? You never really answered the question about what you thought you were.
I mean, it fluctuates because I don't have a really confident view on what I personally am typology wise, but I have gotten like everyone types me TI. Everyone types me TI. TI lead every system. Everyone types me TI, but I don't really relate to that TI sort of dry personality. That kind of TI lead, you know. Um, I don't really feel that much, you know, because I'm a very FE person. Um, and yeah.
I'll make a prediction. I think that
Hmm.
as time passes and you reflect on this typing session, as you
Hmm.
watch it on a channel and maybe or whatever you think
Hmm.
about it, I think you're gonna find yourself very satisfied with the typing as INFJ because
No, I'm very
Rachel.
satisfied already with it. Trust me. Like I think I feel heard right now.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, we got a few minutes left. Are there anything else that you wanted to?
You were saying
Uh,
about Rachel? Something about Rachel? You can
that
go.
Rachel was searching for her type for a long
Mhm.
time before I typed her correctly as INFJ. Even
Mhm.
after she was with me and I had mistyped her at first as ENFJ, she was
Mhm.
unsatisfied with her type until I correctly typed her as INFJ. And she
Mhm.
couldn't figure it out herself until I correctly typed it and explained it adequately to her. And then she never had another thought about it again. Like she never had any more questions about it or doubts about
Right.
it.
Yeah, I hope I will also this will satisfy my need for knowing. But um, what would you say then, sort of in an Aristotelian kind of sense, like if I were to have a sort of end goal as an INFJ, let's say, then what would you say to develop or sort of practice or
I'm
no?
going to NI your question. How does the INFJ actualize?
Hmm.
Um, well, I think they attain more TI defensibility for all of their claims, which enables them to use their FE more selectively because they have more faith and confidence in their ability to defend what they're saying.
Mm.
It allows them to be more confident about. Well, I think typology helps a lot. I think like INFJs have a lot of difficulty understanding themselves inherently. That they look outside themselves for answers about who they are, even about questions that they should look to their own experience for. So perhaps if you're in a relationship, your instinct is to Google something. Is this behavior that my girlfriend
Mm.
did healthy or whatever? Um, and
Yeah.
or ask questions like, I read something that said INFJs are too giving. Am I too giving? Well,
Mm.
from an SI user's perspective, the question
Mm.
should be answered by
Mm.
looking to your experience. Do I have a
Mm.
lot of experience of myself giving too much?
Mm.
And what are those specific experiences? But SI is very unconscious for an INFJ, so it'll tend to look externally. But yeah, INFJs are maximally empowered to um, to attend according to what they know about themselves from a correct explanation, like the one I'm giving you about your attentional manners.
Mm.
And that allows them to explain a lot of things and recognize instances of when they're perhaps looking externally. Because there's like 3 levels you can look to. You can look to externally, like Googling shit. You can look externally, like asking somebody around you, or you could look internally to your own experience. It's that third one that INFJs don't naturally do. And I think actualization involves somewhat on a practical level working around that by way of knowing that that's a deficit area.
Right. So giving value to memories and sort of giving value to real life experiences that I've personally had, and considering that as something real and considering that something worth
just using it. The thing is, it's going to be instrumental always. You're never going to value those memories inherently in and of themselves as wonderful things to cherish or whatever. And when people talk about cherishing memories, you will always inside your head roll your eyes, not outside not on your face though, probably.
No. All right. This was great.
Basically, that it's about realizing that yes, it's going to view those experiences instrumentally, but it'll help inform your NI in ways that allow you to be intuitively more correct.
All right. Well, this was awesome. Really was not expecting this type, but I had to process this. Right now, I'm really happy about it. And yeah.
All right, fantastic.
Awesome.
So thank you very much. And I'll make sure I deal with that name question if it does show up like that. Yeah. And I will publish this sometime today.
All right, awesome. Yes. All right.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.
All right. Yeah.